breakfast food is definitely a favorite in my household, and whenever I can find a new breakfast casserole recipe, that means that I can prepare it the night before, pop it in the refrigerator, and then throw it in the oven in the next morning, I am definitely excited. I cannot wait to share today's recipe with you. It is so delicious. Let's go ahead and get on into it.
I promise you that this breakfast casserole is going to be a new favorite. It only takes 5 ingredients, and that includes ingredients that you probably already have in your kitchen. But I'm just going to start out by browning 1 pound of my favorite breakfast sausage, which is the Jimmy Dean, but you can use whatever your favorite is. And I like to kind of break it up a little bit and then let it cook for a couple of minutes. And then I'll go back in and finish breaking it up. It's just a lot easier to me to really get that broken up once it starts to cook and brown on the one side. I don't know what it is, but it just makes it a lot quicker and more simple to do. But you just want to let that get nice and brown. One of my favorite things to do anytime I'm making like biscuits and gravy or anything with sausage like this is to let it get like really brown. It just develops such a good flavor. So if you are one of those people that kind of stop cooking it as soon as it's done, try it at least once, like where you let it go a little bit longer and get nice and golden brown. And trust me, you're going to be thanking me later. In the meantime, I went ahead and shredded up some cheddar cheese. Whenever I'm able to, I like to shred it myself. It just tastes better and it melts so much better, but I definitely have those days too where I can be a little bit lazy and buy the pre-shredded stuff. But if you've never tried shredding it yourself, it is such a game changer as far as the taste goes and how it melts. So definitely give it a try. And then I went ahead and added in some onion powder once my sausage was almost finished cooking. The recipe, which will be linked in the description box below, does say that you can add in like fresh onion and cook it with your sausage, but I went ahead and left that out and just seasoned it with the onion powder at the end. I definitely knew that I wanted to give this recipe a try because I have made some breakfast casseroles before that are definitely family favorites that I've actually shared on my channel already. But when I've tested out new ones, there have actually been some that I filmed and did not show because they have not been favorites. And my husband does not like when a breakfast casserole is too eggy. And this one doesn't have any eggs in it. But what I'm doing next here is just adding in 2 tablespoons of flour. You can also use cornstarch if you are gluten-free. And then I'm just going to give that a toss around, let it cook for about a minute. That way that like raw flour taste cooks off. And then we're going to go in with 1.5 cups of milk. So if you haven't guessed it already, we're just making like a sausage gravy here, and that's going to be what's going like on top of this casserole. Now I have shared a recipe for a biscuits and gravy casserole that was absolutely amazing, but this one is different because there are no biscuits in it, but you will see what we're going to use instead here in just a moment. Once the milk is added, you're just going to let this cook on the stove, like kind of like at a low simmer, just for a few minutes until it gets nice and thick like this is here. And then in the meantime, I'm going to build the base of our casserole. First, I'm going to spray my dish, and then I'm going to go in with frozen hash browns. So that's going to be our base. You do not have to thaw these, which is absolutely amazing because I don't know how many times I've gone and like done a recipe where I've forgotten to thaw these ahead of time. But you're just going to put some in the bottom. Now the recipe says to use 6 cups. I did not use anywhere near that. I don't know if that's just like an error in the recipe, but I just did like a couple of inches just to get a nice like base. And then I just seasoned it with a little bit of salt. And then you want to add on some of the shredded cheddar cheese. And then next up, we're going to put our sausage gravy on top and then finish everything with a final little layer of the shredded cheddar cheese. This will go into the oven at 350 degrees for 45 minutes, and it comes out absolutely perfect. Those frozen hash browns cook. You don't have to worry about that at all. And I did see like this is definitely one that you can prep ahead of time. That's something that I love about breakfast casseroles. So if you do that, just keep it in your refrigerator and then pop this whole thing into the oven like when you're ready to serve it, whether it be for breakfast or for dinner. We like to do breakfast for dinner a lot as well. But that's something that's really nice about this as well. So if you want to have it prepared ahead of time, you absolutely can do that with this recipe. You will see in just a minute here, I am going to show you this again when it comes out of the oven. It is absolutely beautiful, golden brown perfection. And once it came out of the oven, I just let it rest for about like 10 minutes before slicing into it. And I'm actually going to show you me slicing into it and serving it because I personally was curious how this was going to serve up with the hash browns being the base, but it was really easy to do. You could just slice and serve it very easily, so I was happy to see that as well.
I cannot wait to hear what you think about today's recipe. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below if you give this one a try. Don't forget to subscribe before you go if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next video.